Hi, this is Lynda Gaiao here, and I'm sharing with you this week's energy transit. We are currently in the trait or gate 48, which is all around a well of depth, this instinctual wisdom that lies deep within us. And when we're talking about intuition, this is a space that is beyond the mind. It's a knowing inside of your body that the mind doesn't really have access to. And so when we can step into trusting this intuitive and instinctual wisdom to surface from this deep well within inside of us, it has the potential to bring great solutions to the problems that this society and the collective around us is facing. One of the things to bear in mind with the 48 is that it's projected, which essentially means that it needs to be invited. So yes, you may feel this depth of knowledge, this wisdom within you, and there could be this pressure to share it with those that you meet. However, when we're sharing from this space, more than likely what's going to happen is that it's not going to be received very well. So one of the key elements with the 48 is to wait, to allow just the space and the timing to be correct for someone to come and actually ask you, hey, what do you see here? What can you share with me about this particular topic? And then instead of going to the mind and using kind of the mind's way of analyzing, which if any of you've got stuck in that place, can feel very backwards and forwards. Like there's no real forward movement. It's like back and forth, back and forth. So it can feel a little bit like you get paralyzed in analyzing things with the mind. This wisdom that we're speaking about that surfaces from this 48th gate is deep instinctive wisdom. And when this surfaces in the right timing and when someone is inviting you, it's a knowing beyond the mind that will come out and can provide something that you, even yourself, could be quite amazed at. How did I know that? Where did that come from? When we're looking at anything in one of the awareness centers, and the splenic center or the survival instinct is an awareness center, an awareness function, it brings with it a fear. So when we're looking at the 48, what we're looking at is a fear of inadequacy. Now, this fear of inadequacy can either be turned inwards, so you're feeling personally inadequate, like there's something wrong with me, or I don't have enough depth or skills within me. I don't know enough, I'll never know enough, and this can lead us to pursuing more and more skills, learning and studying because we feel like we're never going to have the right amount of depth to be able to share. And this can, yes, of course, it adds to the well, it adds to the depth, but at the same time it can be a distraction because we're constantly feeling like we need to learn more, but we don't really stop to acknowledge what we already know. Or it can also be this feeling of inadequacy of the world around us, the collective inadequacy. Do we really have what it takes as a collective to survive going into the future or not? So what I'd encourage you to do is to really tune into the space of waiting and allowing someone to invite you. And when the invitation comes along, instead of going to the mind, just allow the wisdom to surface and be really tuned into how much wisdom can this particular person handle right now. I don't need to share all my depth. I don't need to share everything that surfaces. Just distilling it into these really practical solutions or ideas that then can be evaluated, put into practice, used by the collective, by the person that has asked you that you're sharing the information with. Because people with the 48 in their design, and remember, we're talking about the energy transit, so it means that everybody is experiencing this energy at the moment. The thing with the 48 is that it goes so deep. So there can be this tendency to overshare, to kind of put everything, all of your depth out on the table, and that might be too much for some people to process or to deal with in the moment. So getting really discerning about how much of this wisdom, of this intuitive depth that you share with someone when they ask and invite you. And what you'll find then is there may be some really big ahas for them, or some changing in direction, or some solutions to problems that they've been struggling with for quite a while. So I wouldn't underestimate the power of this 48. On the other side of the 48 is the 16, which is the skills. And so if you have the 48 in your design and not the 16, you may constantly feel like you don't have enough skills, and so you're constantly trying to develop those skills. If you have the whole channel in your design, then you can have the synthesis of the two, the depth and the skills, getting to this place of practicing something so many times that you actually transcend the skill. Whenever we have one side of a channel and not the other, we're often always looking for what we don't have. So just be aware of that if you have the one side and not the other. And because we're all experiencing the 48 at the moment, and in actual fact, the 16 is also active at the moment. So for everybody on the planet right now, we're all experiencing the full channel, which is about talent. And you might notice as you're moving forward in the next week or so, just start paying attention to where is inadequacy surfacing for you. And is this coming from within you, a personal inadequacy, or are you picking up from the collective around you this sense of inadequacy? And because this 48 is in the splenic center, which is all about survival instincts, this is about our survival. Are we going to survive going into the future? The 48 is a logical channel, so it's about logically seeing what we need going into the future, a pattern for the future that is going to be good for our survival. And just coming into this place of trusting your design, because when we can step into the trusting of knowing, trusting that we have the depth and that the depth will surface when we need it to, it's got nothing to do with the mind, we can allow that wisdom to surface. So really stepping into, what are you picking up from the collective and what is going on inside of you? Just noticing, when are you dropping into this inadequacy, and when can you just let go of the control, of the needing to know, and allowing this wisdom to surface? Because the 48 just knows. It knows things beyond the mind. And when we can trust that the knowing will surface, then it's going to come out in a clean and fluid way. And remembering always to connecting in with being invited and recognize before you share. If you've been following these videos, then you'll know that we are currently moving through all of the gates in the spleen. And next week, we're going to be moving into the 57, which is about intuitive clarity, intuitive wisdom. And a lot of confusion can come up, and it's about breaking through that confusion into the clarity. So when we next meet on our next video, we'll be stepping into the 57 and seeing how that shows up for us. And in the meantime, enjoy this depth, this well of knowledge that's around in the collective field at the moment, and just pay attention to where have you slipped into this feeling of inadequacy, and where has that become a distraction to get you to do things that you don't really need to do because you already have the depth. So going into trusting, remember we always need to go to our decision-making strategy. So even though the energy right now is in the 48, we still want to go back into our authority and our strategy and just really make sure that we're navigating our life from that place. Thanks for listening. Happy to hear your comments or feedback. And if there's anything else that you want to see, please let me know. Otherwise, hope you have an awesome week, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now, everyone.